John Cena stepped into the studio with his trademark smile and confidence, ready to deliver another lively interview. However, things felt off the moment he greeted Jimmy Kimmel. The host's usual warmth was replaced with a cool grin, and the energy was strained. John cracked a light-hearted joke about Kimmel's recent haircut, which didn't land. Kimmel chuckled stiffly and moved to his cue cards. Something was simmering just beneath the surface, though the audience couldn't yet tell. Cena sensed it too. He shifted in his seat and glanced toward the crew, unsure if he had misread the mood or if something deeper was going on. Kimmel's first question was sharp, almost mocking, referencing Cena's oversized media presence, in a tone that felt more jab than joke. The air thickened. Cena responded politely, but the tension rose like steam in a closed room. Cameras kept rolling. Nobody blinked. And just like that, the spark was lit. The audience laughed nervously, unsure whether this was scripted banter or the beginning of something real. Kimmel leaned forward, clearly agitated, and pressed John about his, acting career, asking whether he thought he deserved roles or just got them because of his name. Cena's jaw tightened, but he smiled through it, replying that hard work always earns its place. That's when Kimmel muttered something under his breath about muscle-bound egos dominating Hollywood. Cena turned his head slowly. For a second, it looked like he might stand up, but instead he leaned into the mic and said, "You got something you want to say to me, Jimmy?" The crowd fell silent. Kimmel smirked and replied, "Just saying some people think they're bigger than the show." Cena didn't blink. The exchange was electric. The crew exchanged panicked glances, unsure whether to cut to commercial, but Kimmel waved them off. He wanted this to play out. John Cena, no stranger to confrontations in and out of the ring, shifted his tone. He asked Kimmel why he invited him on the show if he didn't respect him. Kimmel scoffed and said the producers made the call, not him. That stung. Cena raised an eyebrow and said, "Well, that explains the welcome." Kimmel leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, lips tight. For a beat, the studio was quiet. Then, Kimmel accused Cena of hijacking interviews and making them about himself. Cena replied calmly that people tune in to hear something real, not just scripted bits. "I give them honesty," he said. Kimmel snapped back that there's a difference between honesty and self-promotion. The crowd was now glued, phones out, some even recording. The line between talk show and showdown had officially vanished. This was no longer entertainment. It was ego versus ego, live and unfiltered. As the tension escalated, a producer frantically waved from offstage, signaling to wrap the segment. Kimmel ignored it. Cena, arms folded, challenged Kimmel to explain why he always targeted guests he considered too big. The host bristled, retorting that he didn't like arrogance in any form. Cena shot back, "Confidence isn't arrogance, Jimmy. Maybe that's your issue." Kimmel's face hardened. He snapped that the show had survived bigger names than Cena, and it would survive him too. The insult hung in the air like smoke. The audience gasped. Cena stood up, towering over the desk, and said, "Then maybe I should leave now." Kimmel shrugged and replied coldly, "Suit yourself." Cena paused, looked around, then walked toward the wings. But just before disappearing, he turned back and said, "You should remember, people watch because they want authenticity, not forced laughs." The mic caught it all. The crowd was stunned. Backstage, the crew scrambled to salvage the show. Kimmel, now visibly irritated, attempted to reset with a monologue joke, but the timing was off. No one laughed. The walk-off was, already trending. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram lit up with clips of Cena's departure. Hashtags like Cena walks out and Kimmel clash exploded in minutes. Commentators dissected the body language, replayed every barb, and even speculated on backstage drama that may have led to this. Cena's PR team issued a brief statement saying, "John stood by his values and believes respect should be mutual." Meanwhile, Kimmel made a sly remark later in the show, claiming some people can't take a little heat. But insiders said the fallout was more serious than it appeared. Network executives weren't amused. A review of the incident was quickly ordered, and by morning, the consequences started to crystallize in unexpected ways. Behind closed doors, the network wasn't just dealing with viral backlash, it was dealing with fractured trust. Cena had always been a reliable guest, a media darling with a clean image. This clash painted a different story. Was Kimmel losing his grip on his own platform? Had ego overtaken entertainment? Meetings buzzed with talk of damage control. Kimmel's team insisted it was just a bad night. Cena's team held their ground. Apologies were off the table. Fans took sides. Memes were everywhere. Cena walking off became the latest pop culture gif. Young fans praised his composure. Older fans debated whether talk show decorum had changed forever. Quietly, Cena canceled another appearance on a sister network. That said everything. The message was clear. He was done playing by traditional PR rules. He wanted real respect, not just a fake smile and empty applause. The fallout had only begun. The entertainment world thrives on chaos, but this incident cut deeper. It highlighted an industry where celebrity power constantly butts heads with platform control. Cena, despite being a media-trained pro, had reached a point where he wouldn't perform respect. And Kimmel, known for roasting politicians and pop stars alike, seemed shaken. The press had a field day. TMZ ran with a headline about TV's most awkward walk-off. Variety asked whether late night was losing relevance in a TikTok world. Cena, however, didn't respond further. He posted a quiet photo of himself walking in a forest, captioned simply, "Clarity, noise." It got millions of likes. Kimmel, on the other hand, doubled down. On the next night's monologue, he joked, "At least I can still see myself on camera," referencing Cena's wrestling catchphrase. The line earned laughs, but also sparked more division. Viewers weren't sure who was the real villain anymore. As days passed, rival shows jumped on the moment. Fallon joked about installing a Cena-sized emergency exit. Colbert weighed in with satire, playfully analyzing the clash like it was a Senate hearing. Cena remained silent, choosing dignity over drama. Then came the unexpected twist. An old clip surfaced from years earlier showing Kimmel praising Cena, calling him one of the most grounded guys in Hollywood. Fans noticed. Hypocrisy or evolution? No one knew. But the narrative shifted again. Articles reframed the clash as a deeper story about male pride, performative humility, and the tension between authenticity and media expectations. Analysts dug into past feuds on the show, comparing patterns. Maybe it wasn't about Cena at all. Maybe it was about Kimmel's growing discomfort with stars he couldn't control. And maybe, just maybe, Cena's walk-off wasn't weakness, but a refusal to shrink himself for another man's punchline. In an unexpected twist, sponsors began to chime in. One major brand pulled a segment ad, citing brand values not aligning with recent broadcast conduct. That shook things. Networks hate when money walks. Internally, tensions flared. Kimmel's longtime producers were asked to explain why the segment wasn't cut or redirected. A rumor spread that a new executive had suggested pre-taping controversial interviews moving forward. Meanwhile, Cena's team pitched a new media campaign around "Respect the Guest," a clear swipe at the whole debacle. Influencers joined in praising Cena's calm departure and calling for more authenticity in media. The story wasn't dying, it was evolving. A pop culture moment had turned into a real conversation. Everyone was learning something about ego, media power, and how quickly a smiling guest can become a walking headline. The balance of power had shifted, and the public was still watching. Weeks later, the dust settled, but things weren't the same. Cena didn't return to the show, and Kimmel never publicly addressed the walk-off again. Ratings dipped briefly, then stabilized, but something had changed in the way audiences engaged with late night. They weren't just there for laughs anymore. They were watching for truth, for tension, for those unscripted seconds when the masks dropped. Cena went on to appear on podcasts and streaming shows that embraced open conversation without the need for conflict. His image didn't suffer. In fact, it grew stronger. As for Kimmel, he remained a late-night staple, but the Cena moment followed him like a shadow. Clips from that night still circulate, now part of YouTube compilations titled Top 10 Most Awkward Celebrity Interviews. In the end, the moment became legend, not just because of what was said, but because of who chose to walk away first.